Most wild animal behaviors are perfectly easy to understand. They help an animal survive in a competitive ecosystem or pass on its genes. Look big to scare off a rival. Show off to win a mate. Simple. But every now and again, we find behaviors that don't fit that logic. Cases where an animal is doing something that costs it, or makes no obvious sense, and nobody can fully explain why. Today, we're counting down 6 of them, and the one at number 1 is happening right now in fields and pastures all over the world, in an animal you've probably driven past 100 times, and you've never once noticed it's doing something no human being can do.
Number 6. Kamunyak, the lioness who adopted her prey. All the way back in 2002, a lioness in Kenya was witnessed adopting, not hunting, adopting an oryx calf. Over her lifetime, Kamunyak adopted 6 oryx calves in total, and she'd fight off other predators to protect them. It reads like a heartwarming story at first. The deeper you go, the more tragic it gets. Kamunyak couldn't nurse the calves. She had no milk to give them, so park rangers regularly had to step in and return the calves to their real mothers. In at least one case, a calf she was protecting was snatched by another predator while she slept. Experts have floated a few theories: that she was barren, or had lost cubs of her own, and her maternal instincts simply misfired onto the wrong species; that she was a solitary lion looking for the companionship of pride would normally give her. Her name roughly translates to the Blessed One. Maybe that's the right way to remember her. Not a confused animal, but a blessed, misunderstood lion, full of compassion she had nowhere else to put. Number 6 is the one who loved the wrong species and never once regretted it.
Number 5. Vampire bats and the blood they give away. Vampire bats have the worst reputation in the animal kingdom, and it's not entirely undeserved. The 3 living species survive on blood alone, the only mammals on Earth that do. They wait for darkness, creep up on a sleeping victim, and use teeth so sharp, with no enamel to dull the edge, that experts have cut themselves on bat skulls without meaning to. Their saliva carries anticoagulants that keep the wound bleeding just long enough for a full meal, usually without the victim ever waking up. None of that is the mystery. Feeding on blood is a strange diet, but it's an explainable one. The mystery starts back at the colony. A vampire bat that goes 3 days without a meal will die, a brutal cost of this diet. So when one bat comes back empty, others will regurgitate their own blood meal and share it, mouth to mouth, to keep a starving colony member alive. Birds do something similar for their chicks, but vampire bats do it for unrelated adults, bats that share no genes with them at all. Give away a hard-won meal for nothing in return to a stranger? That's the part science still can't fully close the loop on. The leading idea is that these blood donations function like favors, a way of banking trust so a bat can call in the debt later when it's the one that comes home hungry. Number 5 is the vampire that gives away its only meal and somehow still comes out ahead. Number 4. Elephants and their dead. Elephants aren't just the largest land animals alive, they're some of the most emotionally complex, which makes it even more unforgivable that tens of thousands of them are lost every year to poaching and human conflict. African elephant populations have fallen from an estimated 12 million a century ago to around 415,000 today. Elephants form deep, lasting bonds within their family groups, and nowhere is that clearer than in how they respond to death. When a member of the group dies, the others don't just move on. Both African and Asian elephants have been documented burying their dead under dirt and vegetation, and returning, sometimes repeatedly, to the place where a family member died. Experts still can't agree exactly how much elephants understand about death, or what these visits mean to them. That's the honest, unresolved part. We don't have access to what's going on inside that grief. But the behavior itself isn't in question, and it's hard to look at it and not conclude these are animals capable of something a lot like mourning. Number 4 is the giant that comes back, again and again, for a grave no one asked it to keep. Number 3, the African wild dog sneeze vote. African wild dogs are among the most efficient hunters on the continent, a success rate of 60 to 90%, compared to roughly 30% for lion prides. And yet, unlike lions, they're endangered, down to an estimated 6,600 individuals or fewer, squeezed by habitat loss and conflict with people. Here's the part almost nobody knows, even people who've watched these animals for years. Before a hunt, the pack appears to vote. During what researchers call a pre-hunt rally, individual dogs will sneeze, a sharp exhale through the nostrils, not a real sneeze, and each one seems to function like a yes vote for going on the hunt. Not every rally leads to a hunt, but the more dogs that sneeze, the more likely the pack actually leaves. There's a wrinkle researchers still haven't fully explained. When a dominant pair sneezes first, it takes far fewer additional votes to trigger the hunt. When a lower-ranking dog sneezes first, the pack needs a lot more agreement before it moves. Nobody's confirmed exactly why rank changes the threshold, or whether there are other communication systems in this pack that haven't been discovered yet. That part stays open. Number 3 is the vote you'd never guess was a vote unless someone told you to listen for it. Number 2, the hedgehog that poisons itself on purpose. Self-anointing, smearing yourself or smothering yourself in something smelly or toxic shows up across the animal kingdom for understandable reasons. Birds provoke ants into swarming them because ant secretions repel parasites. Some primates self-anoint with urine for hygiene. Some small mammals rub themselves in feces or shed snakeskin to borrow a predator scent as camouflage. The European hedgehog takes this further than almost anything else alive. It will chew tobacco, soap, feces, toxic chemicals, even creosote, a known carcinogen, work up a froth of saliva and chemical and rub the mixture across its own spines. Most animals doing this would poison themselves. Hedgehogs have an unusually high tolerance to toxins, and in some cases will even attack a toad specifically to harvest and self-anoint with its venom. The why makes partial sense. Smell disgusting and predators leave you alone. Coat your spines in something toxic and a predator that grabs you gets hurt. Mask your scent entirely and you're harder to find. But hedgehogs have been observed self-anointing as young as 15 days old, with substances that offer no plausible defensive upside, cleaning products for instance. So the instinct to do it is well understood. Number 2 is the animal that poisons itself for a reason, and then keeps going long after the reason runs out. Number 1. Cows, deer, and a sense you don't know you have. Watch a herd of cows or deer graze or lie down in an open field, and you'll notice something if you look closely enough. They tend to face the same direction. For years, the assumption was that they were lining up with the sun or the prevailing wind. Then, a team of scientists analyzed satellite images of cattle across 6 different continents and found that, on average, cows aligned themselves roughly 5 degrees off geographic north or south, consistently, regardless of local wind or sun position. The leading explanation is one most people would never guess applies to livestock standing in a field. Cows may be sensing Earth's magnetic field, the same sense that lets birds and sea turtles navigate across oceans and continents. Juvenile cuckoos migrate thousands of miles to African wintering grounds they've never seen, with no adult to guide them and no chance to learn the route. They hatch already carrying the map. If a bird can be born with that sense, the idea that mammals standing in an ordinary pasture might share a version of it isn't as strange as it first sounds. Whether humans retain any trace of that same sense subconsciously is a genuinely open question, one this list will let you decide for yourself. Number 1. Is the herd standing in a field, quietly reading a map none of us can see. So there it is, the thing standing in that field facing 5 degrees off true north without anyone teaching it to is a cow. Ordinary, everyday, driven past 100 times cows, possibly reading Earth's magnetic field the way a cuckoo does on a migration it's never flown before. And once you know to look, the rest of this list stops feeling like 6 unrelated curiosities. The hedgehog rubbing toad venom into its own spines was in your backyard the whole time. The wild dog sneeze boat was happening on every nature documentary you've ever half-watched. Kamunyak's story is the only one on this list that's rare. Everything else on it is common, just unnoticed. It's not that the natural world is short on mysteries, it's that most of them aren't hidden at all. They're standing in a field 5 degrees off north, waiting for someone to actually look. So which one got you? The cow you'll never look at the same way again? Or the hedgehog you've probably seen in your own garden without knowing what it was doing? Let me know in the comments.